Hey guys, this is April, affectionately known as Dr. McNeasy. I'm sorry that it's been a long time since I've posted a video, but guess what? I found out residency was no joke. And you have to find those in between times to really do some of your side passions. So today, we're going to talk about debt. The ugly word many of us in the medical profession know all too well. According to the U.S. News World Report, in 2014, the average medical student debt was $180,000. So sometimes that may feel a little bit overwhelming because for many of us, our debt exceeds that average. Now, some of us take the stance, I'll eventually make money, so debt is debt, and I'm just going to live my life. However, we don't always prepare ourselves for the reality of our financial future. We have been afforded the privilege of working to help others and be well compensated for it. I'm a firm believer that I can make a greater impact on my community if I'm not burdened by debt. So, if we did not learn how to manage contentment and or our finances early in life, why not start now as a medical student? In this first video of a budget series for both medical students and residents, I will lay out the basics of how to start and actually operate in a budget. So why start now as a medical student? What type of lifestyle do you envision for yourself in the future? When you can imagine that, then it allows you to set your financial goals early. It allows you to choose a specialty based on your passion and not your compensation. There's a lot of us who want to be, say, family medicine docs or pediatricians like myself that may not be compensated as much as some of the other specialties. But we are in so much debt. Sometimes we're like, we may need to do another specialty so we can actually cover the type of lifestyle that we envision for ourselves. But if you have made strict financial goals, you've imagined what type of vision that you have for your life, it enables you not to be bound to what it should be like in the eyes of society, but what you have determined what your lifestyle will be for you, yourself, and your family. Also, it allows you to form good habits early. When you can have discipline, have financial goals, and actually stick to a budget when you're on a fixed income, it allows you, when you are starting to be compensated for your work, to actually be able to work a plan without being deterred from the noise of society of how a doctor should live. So, how do medical students get their money? The vast majority of us get money through loans. Some of us are blessed that our parents, guardians, or communities have helped us to pay for our medical school education. And some of us work. Please don't work while you're in medical school. But in full disclosure, I did work my first year in medical school. And although I was graced to pass and do well, I do not recommend it for anyone. Now, how do you structure a budget as a medical student? You're on a fixed income. There's no money coming in. How I'm going to get on a budget? That's a very, very wide misconception that if you don't have money, you can't budget. But I believe if you budget, you will have money and you'll be able to do the things that you really, truly want to do. So I would say the first thing you need to do when you get your loan disbursement or you get the money from your parents, you look at it and say, okay, even as a medical student, I can have emergencies. So I would take $500 to $1,000 off the top and put it away in savings somewhere I will not touch. Cover expenses like maybe a flat tire, or if someone unfortunately passes away or there's a family crisis at home, about $500 should be enough to buy a plane ticket in order to get home. The next thing I would say is that you need to think about and write down what are your fixed expenses versus your variable expenses. Fixed expenses include things like your rent or mortgage, utilities, car payment if you have one, groceries because you need to eat, car insurance, health insurance, renter insurance, your phone. These are the expenses that you need to live, that no matter what happened, those things are covered. Then there's the variable expenses. And these things kind of go along with what your priorities are for your life. You need to determine if you need cable, eating out, entertainment and fun. You do need those times where you need relaxation with your friends and colleagues. And I would even say if you're single and this is your stage of life, you should budget for dating as well. And that way, when you have a solidified budget, if you spend money, you don't have to feel guilty about it because you've told your money what it's going to do. Then I think sometimes we forget about those anticipated expenses as a medical student. Most schools will not allow you to take out additional funds to cover for things such as board prep or board exam fees. So you need to kind of think about those things as you're setting up your yearly budget or bi-yearly budget, depending on how your loans are dispersed. Also, the residency interview process, that's going to happen fourth year. And you also know that you're going to have to relocate. And the reason why I say you need to think about these things now, and if it's possible to include those in your budget, is because our goal is to reduce our loan burden when we graduate from medical school. So we're not digging ourselves out of a hole that's larger than it could have been. And so what you can do every 6 months or every year when you get your disbursement from school, you can already know that, say for instance, I'm going to have at least $4,000 that I want to put towards residency interview expenses. So you know that every 6 months you need to take $500 off the top in order to meet that goal by your fourth year if you're starting your first year. So far I've told you, have a little bit of emergency fund, determine what your fixed versus variable expenses are, anticipate expenses, and set your priorities, which will reflect what your variable and fixed expenses are in your budget. And I know that can be a little overwhelming or easier said than done. So below, I have left a downloadable budget Excel template that you can start putting those line items in order for you to see what your budget would look like and to help you to actually stick to a budget. Now, if you put out all your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, anticipated expenses, and you see that you have a negative balance or that jank turned red, then you know that you need to kind of readjust what your priorities are. So that might determine that if you're single, you might want to get a roommate to help decrease the amount of rent that you pay each month. Or that might say, I can't get cable. I might just need to get internet and get Google Chrome. It might say, I can't spend $200 a month on drinks and eating out with friends. I can only do $100, but at least I'm still having a little bit of fun. So it allows you to do those things. Our goal is to have the least amount of debt possible when we graduate from medical school, because our goal is really to reach those financial goals that we set for ourselves and for us to be uninhibited in the service that we do through our profession. So I wanted to leave you with 2 books that I highly recommend that I think have really truly helped me in my journey of increasing my financial IQ, you might say. And that is Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover. He also has a YouTube channel. And it really lays out how to do a basic budget and kind of think about some of those other things when you go into adulthood, when you start adulting, of what you need to think about concerning your budget. And then also the White Coat Investor. He speaks from our perspective, from the medical profession. And I think it's an excellent book and a good way. He talks through medical school all the way through actually attending. So those are 2 books that I highly recommend. Well, guys, That is all the time we have for today. I really truly hope that this was at least a basis of something that you can start on and grow from, and that it was helpful to you. Our next video will be specific to residents, because we're making money now, honey, but we need to make sure that we have a financial plan on what we're going to do with said money. So please like, subscribe, and please pass this on to someone that you think will benefit from these type of videos. I really truly appreciate it. You guys be blessed, and I'll see you next time.